attacking niggas. Straight attacking niggas. Y'all freestyling. Fuck y'all niggas. Y'all be wildin' and I'm out.
Hey, good evening, good morning, wherever you are across the world. We want to thank y'all once again for coming in, tuning in to the weekly podcast of Walking This Way's Impact Voice Podcast. We are broadcasting out of the DFW, Dallas Fort Worth, Texas metropolitan area. I'm very honored, very excited, and very thrilled to be in your presence one more time, along with my co-host that ride with me all the time, Phoenix Sapphire. Welcome back to the show. I know you've been productive and came back with open schedule, so I appreciate you hanging out. How everything been going with you?
Right. We keep rolling with the punches. Got to keep going. So it's good. It's a good day in the city. So the weather is changing. It's nice outside. Yeah. So glad to be here. Nice to meet you too as well.
And
Likewise, nice to meet you.
Also, and like I said, we're very honored, very privileged to have a mother and daughter. I think this may be the first time on the show that we actually had a mother and daughter on the show. I have to go back and see, but I'm thinking this may be the first time we had a mother and daughter on the show who are both entrepreneurs in their own right, of course. I hope I said that right. Doing great things. We love to see productivity. We love to see positivity. Love seeing a mother who set the standard, set the bar for her daughter to follow. Now, her daughter is successful, and we'll get more into that tonight as they take us behind the scene on this beautiful family, of course, that's doing great things. Y'all are in Louisiana, correct? Louisiana?
Yes.
Okay, they're doing great things in Louisiana. That's what's up. I'm originally from Alabama, of course. Like I said, I've been living in Texas going on 4 years. So I want the ladies to go ahead and introduce themselves before going any further. So, ladies, go ahead and introduce yourselves. And once again, me and Phoenix welcome y'all to the Walking This Way's Impact Voice Podcast here on Facebook Live, Twitch, YouTube, and LinkedIn.
Well, it's nice to meet y'all. I'm Takaya. I am a professional and pastry chef. I am the daughter, of course. A lot of people think we're sisters, but I'm the daughter. That's my mom.
And awesome. And of course, Miss Sonia, I know you was on the show before with big shout out to Miss L, of course. Miss L was herself, and you was on the show. And I know you've been very productive, doing a lot of great things. So just go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience as well. Like I said, me and Phoenix welcome you also.
Okay. So I'm Sonia Tesaurus Antoine. I am a licensed professional counselor, licensed in Louisiana and Texas. I'm also the owner of Positively Affirmed Therapeutic Services, and Lantage and I are really close friends. And she has had me on your show as a guest a few times. So thank you so much for having us back.
And awesome. Like I said, me and Phoenix, we love having people on here who doing extraordinary things. They share their story on how they got started, the requirements, what they expect, and most importantly, that your story can motivate and inspire other people who are listening as we live stream or they go back and listen to the replay. And like I said, you are a mother and daughter, of course. Y'all doing great things, very successful, highly successful, and I say that very, very with facts. So how did this journey all started? I know you the mom, so how did this journey all started for y'all as we are today?
Okay, so for me, of course, I'm not going to tell y'all my age, but years back, it started for me in high school. In fact, my senior year, I took a psychology and sociology class, and I fell in love with it. And so I wanted to become a psychologist, and went to school, started school here back when it was USL, graduated when it became UL of Lafayette. And changed my major a few times from psychology because my mom was like, I don't know if you want to do that. People in the world are crazy. Somebody might try to kill you. So you need to go in something in the medical field. So again, I changed my major a few times, went back to school, got a master's in business. And 7 months later, I found myself back in school again, working on that degree in psychology because it was like a calling. For me, I was working in corporate America, doing very well for a company here in the area, and found myself at the time, when I think back, doing life coaching, which I'm also a certified life coach today. But I was doing that work then. And so I finished that psychology degree and went out on maternity leave for my last son, and found myself trying to find a job to use my psychology degree. And I was blessed with an opportunity, and people thought I was crazy because here I am, a single mother at the time, making like 40 something thousand a year, and I was leaving that job for a $15,000 pay cut to go and use my psychology degree. And a year into that, I decided that I wanted to do more, right? Because this field, mental health, is so close to my heart. And after talking to different people, of course, they were like, you might have to go back to school. And I'm like, well, no, I shouldn't have to. I got this psychology degree, but nonetheless, I had to go back to school and get another degree. And that's what afforded me the opportunity to now be able to own my own private practice. I am a licensed professional counselor, nationally certified counselor. And so that was my journey. Of course, if y'all want to know more about that journey, go get this book that I co-authored, The Reset Journey from Surviving to Thriving, because it really walks you through step by step everything that happened along that journey. But that's where it started for me. And my daughter, back when I was still trying to figure out, life, right? Still doing those things, but doing other things that, people would bring to the table, like, you could do this and make money. You could do this and make money. So every time I did that thing and I was trying to make money, she was right there with me. Like, I was tagging her along. If I had a table, she was sitting at the table passing out information. And, I would like to say that's what birthed the entrepreneurial spirit in her, but I don't know. She'll have to tell us.
Hey, go ahead and jump right on in. Mom opened it up, so go ahead and jump right on in.
Right. So for me, honestly, like in high school, I started making just small stuff like strawberries, chocolate covered Rice Krispie treats, just little stuff that I would be able to show to like my classmates and whatnot. And so I think Valentine's Day was a perfect time where I was like, I'm gonna make chocolate covered strawberries and sell it to my classmates. So I was selling chocolate covered strawberries for like $15. Probably was not making a profit in high school, but I was in high school and whatever I could get, I could get. So I just kind of started doing that. And then right after I graduated in May, and I believe in September, I went ahead and I did like my LLC and whatnot, came up with the name and came up with the menu with pricing, got that out of there. And I started my business 6 years. It'll be on the 18th of this month. So I guess you can say I stepped out on faith and I've been successful ever since. I did end up going to school for culinary. I went to SLCC here, which is a community college, and then I transferred over to Nicholls State University in Thibodaux, Louisiana, where I am now a professional and pastry chef. So those 5 years kind of set me back from my business to where I wasn't able to fully do it. But I'm grateful for everything that I learned that I am now able to pour into my business. So going into the 6th year, I know that everything that I've learned in culinary school, I can pour into my business and be even more successful from there.
And that's what it's all about. Making things happen, becoming all that that God created you to be. Of course, we know that. I say on the show, all the time, we was not created to be a waste. You not created to be a loser. You was not created to be mediocre. You was created to do extraordinary things. If you look at Scripture, He said you're the apple of His eye. He tells you the head and not the tail. He restored these things upon us. And but these things we have to believe. You're blessed going in, blessed going out. You can lend to many nations, don't have to borrow anything. But these are things that we have to believe in order to achieve. It's like great information. He gave us the information. He gave us the blueprint. But it's up to us to follow along with that blueprint. But most importantly, that's what it's all about. But I'm very excited. And Phoenix, you want to time on in? Anything you want to ask the mother and daughter that's on here tonight?
Most definitely very impressed by the mindset, and being able to instill that in our children to get them started on that right foot. So, Mom, I wanted to ask you, what were some of the obstacles that you had to face in your pursuit?
Oh goodness, where do I start? Um, One, I'm a single mother. It's Takaya, her middle brother, who just recently turned 18, and then my youngest, who's 11. So, like and a friend of hers brought to my attention, um, probably about 3 years ago. They were like, "You've been doing this single mom thing for," at the time she was 21, for 21 years. And I was like, "Who? Oh my goodness!" So when I think about that, I think about her journey when she was born prematurely, and at a month and 10 days old, as a single mom, I learned that she was diagnosed with hydrocephalus, and that in order to combat this, and ensure that she had a good quality of life, she would have to go undergo a major brain surgery at a month and a couple of days old, and so that was a major setback. I had to sit out of school a semester, but God's will, His way. I was able to go back and graduate. When I finally graduated, I got a job I had applied for a year prior to, and then there were some things that happened along the way that really put us in a bind, financially, mentally,
Right.
emotionally. So there has been lots and lots of struggles, but I, stepped out on faith, and I told a lot of that story in this book, because I wanted people to see and understand how, despite the struggles you
Mm,
may face,
right.
as long as you stay connected to His word, as long as you stay connected to Him and trust that He will see you through it, you will get through it. And we have been able to get through every storm. I laughed earlier today because we were sitting here, we just missed a hurricane that, came to Louisiana. We
Mm,
got rain and everything today. And the sun came out, and I was like, I said to Kaya, the sun got the nerves to want to come out. I said, but what did it say?
Mhm.
After the storm, the sun will
shine.
shine.
Yes,
And
it
that's
will.
the way I look at what we've gone through, despite the storms, every storm, the sunshine came out. And 9 times out of 10, if you were lucky to catch it, you would catch a rainbow.
Mm,
Man, most definitely. That's what's up right there. And like I said, just hearing the excitement, just hearing the triumph, hearing the victory in your voice, Sonya, is a story all by itself. Not even though you may have trials and tribulations, but you still were pressing through. You still were pressing on. Now that you had your children as well. So it's like, I want my children to have a great life. I want them to have a successful life. And parents always want their children to achieve farther
right.
than they did, and and that trickle effect. So as a mother and the matriarch of the family, what were the life skills that you stored upon your children growing up? What are the philosophies you put in place? Also, a prime example of your daughter, she's doing great things. I know your others doing well, but what philosophy did you put in place for yourself and for your children, for they could continue on doing great things in life?
Well, I was raised by my grandmother and my mom, who's also a single mother. And so, one thing they always told us was trust God. So that's the number one, trust God. And my grandmother used to always tell us, He may not come when you want Him to come, but He's right on time.
Right.
And so I share that with my children. I think sometimes more often than not, but they know it. It's instilled in them. I always tell them to be who they are. Don't be who other people want them to be or what society tells them they should be. Be who you are. Trust yourself. But most importantly, always be honest and do the right thing. And always reach out if you need something. Don't ever feel like, you can't call me and you can't ask for help, because I'm always going to be here to help you as much as I can.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about. And we know that the norm growing up was to Go to school, graduate, college, get a job. You be on that job for 30 plus years, and you get a retirement pension. But we know that a lot of people only did, but deep down inside, we know individuals were, they had to do what they had to do, but at the same time, they was not being fulfilled, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
I'm doing things, but at the same time, I feel like I'm missing out. I'm missing out on what I was born to do, missing out what I was created to do. So did you always instill that in your children is finding your niche in life, finding something that you was going to bring you fulfillment, bring you enjoyment, instead of just doing things where society would tell us what to do?
Oh yeah, absolutely. With Takaya, she graduated high school wanting to be either OBGYN or a pediatrician. And I remember taking her to the school that she was thinking about going to at that time. And she was happy to be there, but I called my sister on the way back and I was like, I'm going to hear from her by the end of the night. It's not going to go well. Like I just had that intuition. And, she and her brothers know that I'm going to always support them, whatever it is they choose to do. My only request is that, they do go to college and pursue a higher education. For her brother who just recently graduated, I even told him, which I had to, check in with myself because I'm like, girl, what you doing? I even told him, I was like, if college is not your thing, I'm okay with you going to do a trade,
Right,
but
most definitely.
later on in life though. That wasn't
True.
always the thing for him, coming up. But going back to Takaya, when she went through that orientation and she came back and she was like mentally withdrawn. And I just remember telling her, I'm going to let you stay in this space, but not too long. So I allowed her to stay in that space. She was like, Mom, I don't know if I want to do that. That's too much biology. That's too much this. And I said, okay, well, think about it. So after about the 5th day, poor thing, she had then cried her eyes out. I went in her room, I flicked the lights on, and I said, okay, time's up. We got to figure out what you're going to do. You can't just sit here and, just cry about it. I said, you got to dig deeper. What is it that when you're going to wake up every day to go out and do it, you're going to say, I love what I do. I said, have you ever thought about baking, cooking? Because those are things that you love to do. That was it. Before I knew it, she had then enrolled at SLCC like she spoke about. She had then created this business. And I was in my feelings because she didn't even tell me. She had done the thing. She had just did it. And I mean, of course, I was so proud of her. But, I felt some kind of way because I was like, she didn't even ask me for my help. But that just confirmed that the whole time she had been watching, she had been listening, she figured it out. And she just needed me to support her and to just give her that nudge and that push, letting her know it's okay.
Man, that's awesome. And I'm asking you this too, son. I see now there's a lack of when it comes to parenting. We see now where are the parents today preparing their children for life? Because we know parents are to prepare their children for life. Because think about it, you're gonna get older. You're going to have your own family one day, responsibilities coming in. Are we lacking that now and more in our community where we're not seeing enough of parenting with parenting children for life? We see now, you see it on the news. You see the shoes that's going on right now in the schools. I work within the law system here in Dallas, Texas. We have more young men being incarcerated. We see a lot of on drugs, but are we lacking that now? What can we do to fix this thing that we got going on in our community when it comes to bringing back parenting, preparing children for life?
So do I think that there's a lack? Absolutely. I think it got lost somewhere along the way. In my profession, I hear a lot of times, they want me to be their friend.
Yeah.
a lot of times that's the case, and I can't speak for anybody else, but for myself, I would always tell them, and I still do, I'm not your friend. I'm your mom. And I don't care what so and so's mom is doing in their house. Over here, this is what it is. And I think too that a lot of times, we don't like to reach out for support, because I think that whole system that I grew up on, which was the village.
Right.
The village no longer exists in many communities, because it's more so, don't tell my child nothing. Who do you think you are? If you say something to that kid, they want to, come at you and argue and fight. And some people are just like, you know what? My grandmother used to say, sometimes you see nothing, you say nothing. Right. And I think that's kind of where it has gotten. People, they see, but they say nothing, because they don't want to get intertwined and mixed up in all of that. But one of the ways that I have tried to be an advocate is through my youth mental health summits that I offer here in the area, where we hold safe spaces for our children, where we even hold spaces for the parents, and we talk to the parents and we let them know if their child brings up a concern, so there's still ways to get it done. I recently did a parent roundtable where we talked about the parenting phases, where you go from caregiver to coaching to consultant, and how important that is, to be able to help your children to navigate through their phases of life, but also to help you to get to a place where, as a parent, you can feel like you've done everything that you could possibly do to support, to mold, and to help your children go out into this world we live in and be successful.
Yeah, most definitely. Because we know we allow what we see where we're relying on the school system. We're relying on teachers to raise our children. We're relying on the daycare system to raise our children. You see where now where individuals don't even want the children at home. They just look forward to them going to school and thinking that's the teacher's job. No, teachers to educate them, teach them math, science, social study, not prepare them for life, not teach them about having manners for themselves. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Yes, sir. No, sir. Being on time, having integrity, not to lie, what I'm saying, being honest. So now it's like, okay, I really, the teachers, that's not the teacher's job. And I understand what all these teachers going through, where parents getting mad at the teacher. Well, my child not learning anything in school. Well, just think about it. The teacher has to deal with a problematic behavior child in the classroom. So what does that take away? It takes away the teacher's study, her planning to deal with a problematic behavior that's in the classroom. Mm-hmm. So what does that lead to other children that is not learning anything?
Right.
So it's like it's very, very deep. And I know you mentioned psychology. I think you mentioned that earlier, of course. When you mentioned that earlier, what was you was always curious about the mindset of people, because that's something we never think about, the mindset, how we think, how we function, the habits that we picked up. So that always intrigued you about the mindset of people?
Yes. Even in high school, I was, if I, label it today, I was coaching and counseling, helping people navigate through things, working through problems, more so my friends than anybody else. But it was just something about it. But also, if I really am honest, it had a lot to do with my instructor, my teacher, right? Coach Joey had a way of putting the subject matter out there to where I just wanted to, chime in and listen. And he would call me Antoine. He would call me by my last name. And I remember writing a paper and he was like, Antoine, that bubbly handwriting, I couldn't even understand it. But I guess he understood it enough because I got an A on it. But it was just something about the way he taught the subject matter that really pulls me in. And then, of course, understanding the mind, why people react and respond the way they do, and when how their upbringing could impact their behavior, etc.
And we see that what's going on right now. But it's to understand, but also bring a shift, break the narrative of thing, how we allow society to dictate us how we're supposed to be. We allow society to dictate how we're supposed to act and all the other stuff. And thank God for our parents. And I know our parents, they was on the path and information what they learned from their parents and so forth. And we know that growing up, we didn't have a lot of conversations because we know things are wide open nowadays. We see that on social media.
Yeah.
But having conversations where if a child was dealing with something or was bothered about something, and when the child asked the parent will hoop and holler and yell at them. And I know they did that because they didn't know the answer. So what did the child do? The child just really holds back. I'm scared to talk to my parents. If I talk to my parents, they're just going to yell at me. So they go and get bad information on the outside. Now it's like, where did this come from? When it's okay, I've been trying to talk to you for the longest. If I talk to you, who can y'all at me? So how can we change that to when our children have questions that the parent can sit down and talk to the child and explain the pros and cons of things instead of just hooping and hollering at them?
Absolutely. So it's really important to hold a safe space for your children, but that requires you to check in with you, because you can't do that if you're dealing with your own stuff, right? You got to make sure that you have separated that. But for example, I can remember when Takaya was getting ready to go to middle school, and I sat her down and I told her everything from I think A to Z, right? As to what she could expect, what she might see, what she might hear. But I made it clear to her that if she had any questions, to please come home and let's talk about it, because I wanted to help her to process through it and be that voice of reason so that she didn't have to get it from the outside. And I remember her sharing that with one of her friends, and the mom called me. And the mom was going off, like, how dare you have such a conversation? Because we even talked about sex, because I remember in middle school, my friends, other people around me, talking about it. Some girls even ended up pregnant that I knew and I went to school with. And I was like, so I went home, and I'll never forget this. I went home and I asked my mom, I said, so how is it that a girl can have sex with a boy and they don't even love each other? And my mom, when I tell you, she got so pale. She's like, I don't know, call your auntie. So I call her, and she's like telling me some off the wall stuff. And then it was like, and that stuck with me. And I remember telling myself that if I ever had a daughter or children, period, I was going to have those difficult conversations with them, because I don't want them getting the wrong information, although they still will. I wanted to make sure they heard certain things from me, and they knew that if they had to have a conversation, I may not always like the topic, but I was going to hold space for the topic. And so when that mom called me and how dare you? And I told her, I said, ma'am, first and foremost, that's my child. And so whatever I choose to do with my child or for my child, that's me. Maybe you should be having the same conversations too. And it seemed to have worked well.
Yeah, because it makes sense. Well, it makes sense because this is where we're going. Where it's all about, and I believe in you should have a healthy, safe household, for your family, of course. Where back in the day, your family would sit down at the dinner table, talk about things, discuss some things. But most importantly, it was to help educate, grow, and mature. That when you have these conversations, when it's about sex or anything, that you give them the straight up answer, the pros and cons of what it's all about. And we know that you're going to have guys who say, oh, I love you, woo, 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 do this and that. And soon they get what they want, they're out the door. Now she's hurt. you know, and now how can you have to sit down? Now she has built that resentment up towards guys now because she said, okay, the guy I really love, he betrayed me.
Right.
So it's that change now where that wall built up. So how do we, reverse all that, especially with guys? You know, guys go do the same thing. The girl love him. She walk out. Now he has trust issues now with the opposite sex. So now you have this war going on where all men are the same. All women are the same based off someone's own experience. Now they spread their toxicity over. Now we have this war going on, and we see a lot of that in social media. This whole war, this house divided. And no, Jesus talks about that. A house divided cannot stand. So what you want to say about that one?
Well, you know, I think for me with them, I always remind them that you can't control what other people do.
Correct.
Right? You can control what you do and how you react and you respond. But just because someone, hurts you doesn't mean that you have to reciprocate that. You also have to be mindful of what could have been going on in their world, right? Because you only see a small window of that. And so when it comes down to it, it's really about just being open and communicating how you feel, but honoring your feelings. I think a lot of times, especially for our young boys, our males, they've been told you don't cry, so they don't honor their feelings. They don't know how to. So, for my boys, I make sure they know that it is okay to cry. It's okay to talk about, the girl that you had a crush on and you found out she liked your best friend. It's okay for us to have that conversation because I want you to know that I respect you enough to hear what you have to say because what you have to say matters, right? And then I can help you to try to process through any of those stuck points, those places where it may not make sense. And no, I don't have all the answers, but I think when it really just comes down to it, instead of warring, it's really about, let's just talk. Yeah. Let's just hear both sides. Let's hear this person out. Let's hear that person out. And even when it comes to our children, in our community, especially the African-American community, we have been taught to just brush things under the rug, not really deal with those things. Let's not talk about those things. But at the end of the day, you have to talk about it. Your feelings and your emotions, they're valid, they're real. And that's one of the things that I really try to do with my children is validate their emotions. And even me, with all the tools and all the equipment that I have, I'm still human. So there are times where, they might be going through something and they have to tell me, Mama, you're not listening, right? Or Mama, I don't need you to tell me how to fix it. I just need you to listen. So just having that space, I think, to hold that space for your children, just to communicate that and let them hear those words may help to start clearing a path for these things to be different.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. You know what I'm saying? It's all about changing the narrative, changing things around, changing the lineage, changing the legacy status, we say, to greener pastures. Before we go any further, we'll take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back with our topic discussion. The name of the show is called Like Mother, Like Daughter. It's the name of the show, and we'll be right back after this break.
You said you love me. Now I know what love is. Ain't nobody stop your love. Stop your love. 'Cause you know me. All my hopes, all my fears. Still you chose yet, yet you still love me. Now I know what love is. Ain't nobody stop your love, your love. 'Cause you know me. All my hopes and all my fears, still you chose me. I'm in love, I'm in love. You turn your back on him, he's still on your side. Always keep it real with you and that's no lie. Won't give up the fight, I know I'ma survive. Now I got God on my side, God on my side. I was down and he got me up. On the ground, no faith, I thought I was stuck. Now the devil see us winning and we got him shook. You know it's our season, we gon' run it up. Gotta love my sister and love my brother. Cause in this world, it teaches us we gotta love each other. Really absurd if we can't look beyond each other's colors. Choose to prefer to show love for one another. We need to come together. Now I know what love is. Nobody stop your love. Stop your love. You know me. All my hope and all my fears. You chose me. I'm in love. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm in love. So in love. I'm in love. So in love with you, with you, with you, with you, with you. I'm in love with you, with you, with you, with you, with you.
Hey, what's up, everybody? We're back here on the Walking This Way Impact Voice podcast, broadcast out of DFW, Dallas Fort Worth, Texas, metropolitan area. Big shout out to Harvard. She's a gospel recording artist here in Dallas, Texas. Like I said, big shout out to her. Big shout out to everybody who's doing great things, of course. And I'm very honored, very excited, very privileged to be in the presence of this awesome mother and daughter, of course. The things they are doing, the thing they want to come, the thing they set out to do as well. Also, let's talk about business. And let's talk about the business world. And I know your daughter, of course. I don't want to butcher your name, so I'm going to say T because I don't like butchering nobody's name. So, of course, you are a business owner as well. How has that been? How has being an entrepreneur for you? How has it changed your life being a business owner?
So of course everyone knows it's definitely not easy. Um, but you have to keep pushing, especially with having God on your side. Nothing is impossible. And for me, like I said earlier, being in school for 5 years of having my business open, it was pretty hard to have it having stuff like consistently and just being consistent with posting or even getting orders, because I was an hour away from Lafayette. So whenever I would go to school, I would come back on the weekends and do orders if I had orders. Some weekends I had maybe 3 or 4, some weekends I had 2, some weekends I had 1, some weekends I had none. So it's definitely it's not easy to just be like, oh, I'm 100% an entrepreneur. Everybody always have to have some other source of income to be able to pour into your business to, of course, keep it floating and keep it going. But for me, I have to always remember that everything happens in God's timing, because for me being a young entrepreneur, I can look at what's going on with social media and be like, well, she started 5 months ago and she's already flourishing. Or she started 5 years ago and she has this or has that, or she has this skill, or whatever the case may be. And I have to remind myself that it's not always our timing, it's God's timing. And if you keep pushing, you keep putting in the work, and you keep having the faith and trusting in Him, your time is going to get to where you're going to be like the person that you're seeing. So just being in business, I had to remind myself that social media is what they decide to show you. So you don't necessarily know, that their business is flourishing or whatever case may be. You just have to focus on yourself and stay in your own lane. So that way you can be to where you want to be. It's fun being an entrepreneur, because of course you can do things on your own. You don't have somebody telling you, oh, well, I need 1,000 cupcakes tonight. and you got to do it right now by this time, you can let them know, okay, this will be done this time. This is how much it'll be. This is my policy. This is that. You are able to do what you have to do. You don't have to focus on nobody else. So I definitely love being an entrepreneur. If anybody else decides to do it or wants to do it, I tell them to do it. But of course, do your research first. Don't just dive into it, because I think that's also a thing too now with social media. Everybody is like, oh, well, they making money off this, so let me do it. But not everybody has the customer service, or not everybody has done their research to go out and do it. But being an entrepreneur is definitely fun. I'm blessed to be an entrepreneur at a young age, and I pray that I keep flourishing.
Well, that's what it's all about. It'll go biblical for a moment. In the Bible, in Deuteronomy 8:18, the Bible tells us that God has given us the power to get wealth, that He may establish His covenant made with our forefathers. Just think about it for a moment. He's I give you the power to get wealth. He didn't say I'm going to give you wealth. He said I give you the power to get wealth. When you hear that, what resonates with y'all? The first thing come to mind is I give you the power to get wealth.
I think, like you said earlier, like basically he gives us the blueprint. Like it's all in there. And I'm not sure if people are familiar with Rock City Church, but I follow a Rock City Church, and they have what's called Devo Energy every Monday through Friday, every morning. And what they tell everybody is to read your Bible. Like if you have questions, or if you're wondering about something, it's in the Bible. Literally read your Bible. And so he gives us the blueprint. You have to read it. You have to pray and ask for discernment and ask Holy Spirit to allow you to focus and understand what you're reading. And it's there. I mean, he gives you the power to be wealthy and, do what you have to do to be successful in life, but you have to also put in the work. It's not going to just be given to you. Of course, like I said earlier, you have to trust in Him and have faith that it's going to be done, and it'll be done. You just have to stay focused.
Yeah, you have to, because what I would say, faith without works is dead. You can say all day long, I want to go play in the NBA, but you sitting around on the couch playing NBA 2K, eating junk food, it ain't gonna happen. A lot of people say they want to be this and be that, but they're not putting in the work to do that. They're not putting themselves in position to do that. God has given us a system, and we had talked about this on the show a while back, developing our own system, putting a system in place. If you are into athletes or you're into sports, great coaches always had a system in place for the players to drive and succeed. So we should have a system in place so we can drive and succeed in life. And what most importantly is putting in the work, like you said, T as well, is just putting in the work and staying consistent with it, staying within your own lane, because you got to think about it, when you're starting a business, you're not going to make money like that. It's not going to boom overnight. It takes time. It takes years. Some people hit that mark, probably like a 10-year mark, whatever, but they're still staying consistent with it. So let's talk about being consistent when it comes to entrepreneurship. How important is it to stay consistent? You just can't, well, I'm doing it today, and then tomorrow I'm putting it up on the back in the closet. Oh, I'm feeling today, so I'm going to put it back on today. So how important is it to stay consistent when it comes to the business world?
Well, I guess we both can say something on this, because I definitely can say my mom is more consistent than me. Because I'm the type of person where I'll be like, okay, I had this order today, so I'm going to post this order. And then I don't post for a week. And then I'll be like, oh, well, I don't have any orders this week, or I didn't get any orders this month. But then I have to have a reality check with myself and be like, well, people don't know what you have if you don't post about it.
Right.
And like I said earlier, with people being having more than what I have, or just looking at their page and being able to see that they have consistency with clientele, I have to remind myself that they post 3 times a day, or they're letting people know that this is what I have, this is what I do, this is the offers that I serve, and they are able to have that consistent clientele. But if you're not posting and showing up for yourself, then the people are not going to show up for your business. So for me, I have to remind myself daily that you have to be consistent. how to be consistent, I don't know, but I'm trying to find that out on my own to be able to pour it into myself so I can be consistent with my business. But
Right.
my mom could fill in and maybe tell y'all.
Well, go ahead, Mom. Go ahead. Tag in.
I think she did a good job of, you know, expressing and explaining how it works for her. You know, for me, what I know is that consistency is key to growth, to development. And if you're struggling in finding out what that should look like for you, then you know it's really about stopping, pausing, and doing some self-reflection and evaluating and figuring out what those stuck points are and how you can get through those in order to develop it, in order to, you know, put it or make it a priority in your business, in your day-to-day. And so I think, you know, with time and where she is in her own growth, that she'll definitely get it. But for me, I recognized early on, and I think that was because, you know, I had the opportunity to sit under different people on my journey to becoming. And so there were things I picked up, and I recognized those were important things, and there were things that I saw and I picked, not necessarily picked up to carry with me, that I was like, no. And then that really also helped me to identify, you know, what I needed to do and how I needed to be consistent in my work in order to grow and develop.
And also, I know you said something earlier about promoting, marketing. If people don't know, they won't know if you don't put it out there. And when you was talking, everything about a closed mouth don't get fed. So if your mouth closed, you won't get fed, but you have to put the information out there. You have to constantly be in people's faces, constantly promoting. That's what I believe in. You got to keep putting it out there, putting it out there, putting it out there, putting it out there. No matter if someone like it, no matter if someone don't share it, keep putting it out there, keep putting it out there, keep putting it out there. Eventually, it's going to click with people. I keep seeing this over and over again. I'm curious now. Let me see what the talk is about on this, and then that's how you hook people in. And all this, and people love sweets, and we know we're in a time now where things are coming up. The holiday season is approaching. We know all that stuff. We know people have got functions and things like that. So that's what it's all about. So let's talk about the business. How can people follow your business? How can they connect with you? So when it comes to orders, we know the holiday season is coming up. We know families gonna be coming into town. We're gonna have a lot of gatherings going on. So you could have some big paydays coming through for the holiday season. So how can people go ahead and plug in, and how can they support you and the work that you're doing?
So I am on Facebook and Instagram at Amore My Creations LLC on Facebook and Amore My Creations on Instagram. I also do have a Etsy page. You can look it up by Amore My Creations. I am in the process of adding more desserts on there to be able to ship, so that's coming. But definitely keep a lookout on Facebook, Instagram, and yeah, we could get some sweets sent out, shipped out, however.
And that's what I'm asking you this too. We know people like to be healthy. They got they're very health conscious. So do you do health snacks as well? Do you do vegan desserts and things like that? I just want to know.
I haven't got to it just yet. I have had coworkers that's asking me. So probably soon. I just like to do my research before I put stuff out because I'm not trying to make nobody sick or none of that. But definitely once I do my research and learn more about it, definitely.
Yeah, awesome. Because we know that's where people are going, where individuals are going now, when they're going through the health thing. And we know it's a lot of, because like you said, people, health reasons, you want to make sure all the other stuff is important. So, hey, I feel it. But I'm looking forward to that. So whenever it drops, I'm looking forward to that. And all this, I love supporting great people doing great things. Also, I know, Mom, you are doing great things yourself as well. And you mentioned your license in Louisiana and Texas. As well. So are you planning on being licensed in other states, or are you just going to be these two for right now, or you plan on expanding even further across the United States?
Well, for right now, I have my my work cut out for me here in Louisiana and in Texas. But I'm not saying that to say I'm not open to seeing new clients, because I'm always open to seeing new clients. I have pondered the idea of branching out into other states, but there's so much that we have to keep up with as far as our continuing
Right.
education hours, and of course the requirements for other states can look different. So I'm okay with Texas and Louisiana right now, but maybe in the future I'll, honor the call. I always like to wait for God to tell me where to go next, and expand in other areas.
Right, because we know that God did with nations. God sent us out amongst the nations.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? That's we serve a big God. We don't limit him. He's about nations. He's about worldwide. And but we know that God is good, and we know that He is doing great things, and for both of y'all, for your whole entire family as well. So you doing the practice. Of course, you got a book as well. Also the master daughter, you gonna be writing a book. Your mother has a book. Are you gonna be doing one too?
I don't know about a book. Maybe a cookbook.
Hey, there you go. Hey, there you go. See, there you go. Right. Hey, cookbook. Hey, like I said, we know cooking is important. We know that. We got
Right.
to eat. Food for energy, so we got to have that. So that's always an awesome thing. Big shout out to everyone. Also, big shout out to Miss Woods in the building. Also earlier, so she's watching in the comment section. Big shout out to Miss Blue as well. Miss Blue is out of Houston, Texas. She was on here last night. She did say congratulations, ladies. So big shout out to Houston. And she said, then, oh yeah, she said, yes, maybe a healthy cookbook. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, you never, things are changing, whatever. So, I'm not holding y'all up. I know everybody ready to get off the air. We had a great time. Big shout out to Phoenix. It was a surge in her area, so it got knocked offline, but
Oh,
that's what happened to her. But before we get ready to get off the air, ladies, and I don't want to hold you up because I know y'all very productive ladies. So, I'm going to start with you, T. What advice, sound of wisdom, and you are a young lady. So what advice do you want to give to young people who are inspired to be business owners yourself?
I would just tell them, just do your research. Definitely make sure that it's something you want to do. Don't just jump into it because social media is doing it. Because TikTok is a place where they make it seem like they making so much money because they showing it, but in reality, it may not be as good as it seems. So definitely do your research. Just make sure that that's something you really want to do, and just trust in God that it's going to be done, because we can do all things through Christ. And if you go for it, if you believe it, it'll be done. Just got to go for it.
Hey, she said it. Just go for it. What about you, Mom? What advice you want to give to the listening audience as well, that who want to strive to do a store and everything? So, but you're doing that yourself. So, what advice would you give them?
so what I would say is, sometimes you have to just jump. You have to trust that God will take you where He wants you to go and where He wants you to be, because as we know, it's according to His will and His way. So just believing in yourself, believing in the fact that if He gave you the vision, He's going to make the provisions, and He will never give you more than you can bear. And as long as you do the work, because He's not going to do the work for you, you have to put in the work. So as long as you do the work, He will make the way. You just have to trust and believe. And someone told me recently, and she said, and I quote, "And we're crazy enough to be entrepreneurs, right?" And we laughed. And I said, "Yep, we got that crazy faith."
Mhm.
And so as long as you trust God, do the work, He'll make it so easy for you to see that other side. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be easy, and that you're not going to have no stumbling blocks or no struggles, But he's going to remind you once you've gotten over that you see, if you'd have just trusted me and followed my lead, this is where you would have ended up a long time ago for some of us. I know I say that for myself. You know, if I would have just trusted his way a long time ago, I may have gotten to this point quicker. But I also recognize now that I needed all of this in order to now be where I am. Because
Man, that's awesome.
Along the way that you're going to have a conversation with, that you're going to be able to share your experience with, that's going to say, I needed to hear that, because your mess is a message.
Right. And that's what it is. You know, think about it, like in scripture, in Genesis, you know, Genesis chapter 12, I hope I said that right. With Abram, you know, when God approached Abram for he became Abraham, what did he tell him? Leave everything, leave your candle, leave everything, and go to the land I will show you. So with God has to get you out of familiar surroundings. He has to get you out from familiar territory so you can know who he is. That's what I based it off of when I transitioned from Mobile, Alabama in 2020 to here to Dallas, Texas, leaving familiar ground and come to a land I have never been to, never visited in my life until, well, back in 2020, of course, but I'm here. But it calls you to trust with more in him. It calls you to rely more on his word, his guidance, and most importantly, he'll put the people in place that he wants you to connect to. I believe anytime he sends you somewhere, ladies, it's to reach other people, because he has people that's waiting on you to help them take it to the next level. Did that make sense?
Absolutely.
So that's what it's all about. But y'all ladies, man, y'all keep with the great work. One more time before we go. I know y'all are on social media, of course. So I'm start with your daughter, of course. So go ahead and plug in all your social media info. How can people get in contact with you? Like I said, you know, the holiday season is coming up. So people gonna be the one to get some orders and try things. So go ahead and plug in all your social media sites.
Facebook is Amore My Creations LLC, and Instagram is Amore My Creations. My Etsy page is Amore My Creations as well, and I'm always open to shipping orders, or even if you just want a sample box, a taste test, or whatever, I'm willing to ship. So just send me a DM.
Hey, y'all support, man. Y'all support. That's what we need to do with support. Go ahead, Mom. I know you're on social media as well. I know you're a businesswoman. So go ahead and plug out the information so that everybody can reach out and keep updates what's going on.
Absolutely. Facebook is Positively Affirmed with Sonia Tesouris, LPC, NCC Certified Life Coach. Instagram is Positively_affirmed Sonia. I'm not on TikTok or Snap or anything like that, but I also have my website, which is www.positivellyaffirmedtherapeuticservices.org.
Man, awesome. Like I said, man, these ladies are doing great things out of Louisiana. So, man, y'all keep in contact with what they got going on. You have questions, I know they'll feel free to talk to you about all the questions that you have containing their business or whatever, things like that. So, man, y'all ladies keep up the great work. So that y'all have anything y'all want to share before we leave, any shout outs. I mean, the floor is yours. So go ahead. If y'all have anybody y'all want to shout out and then you want to share, and then that God put in your heart to share, go right ahead.
Absolutely. A huge shout out to Lantage Woods. She is one of my good friends from back home that has connected us with Walking His Ways podcast. And I'm grateful and thankful for her. Continued blessings to her and all that she's doing. Of course, to my daughter, success to her in her business. I want to see her continue to thrive and just be on the lookout for things that's here in Louisiana. I have youth mental health summits that's free to our youth. We're always looking for sponsors and people to, just honor our young people because their mental health matters. Looking forward to possibly doing some things with Lantage in the Texas area and also here in Louisiana. So that's it. Anything you want to share?
Always walk by faith, not by sight.
Well, hey, that sums it up right there. So I appreciate y'all ladies taking time out y'all productive schedule to hang out with me, and also feeling like I said, she had a power surge on the ends and not everything out. But like I said, I thank her as well in her absence, of course, and y'all ladies as well. So keep up the great work. And I will be back here Saturday morning on of course with September 14th, 2024. We'll be back. We'll be live streaming at 11 a.m. Central, 12 p.m. Eastern, and 9 a.m. on the West Coast. My guest he's a write-in Republican candidate for the U.S. Congress District 38. His name is Avery Arias out of Houston, Texas, and he's running for office. So he will be on the show this Saturday morning. So if you have any questions about politics, things that he's running for, what he believes in, feel free to tune in this Saturday morning. I will be live streaming, of course, on Facebook Live and YouTube. So make sure go my YouTube page right now. Is at walkinhiswaysimpactvoice.com. Well, not .com, but Walking His Ways. Go subscribe to the Pat channel. You'll get shows like this every week. So this coming Saturday, I will have Avery Arias. Like I said, he's a write-in Republican candidate for the U.S. Congress. So y'all tune in on Saturday morning as we talk politics, his beliefs, on what he wants to do in office. You know, we know that political season is here. We know President's run is here. We know they had the debate yesterday with Ms. Trump and Harris, of course, on yesterday. So we know how things get shaken up. We know people come with different views and their different opinions. But we know at the end of the day, who reigns at the end of the day? The Most High God reigns at the end of the day. So no matter what man say, no matter what woman say, we know that God has what the final answer, right? So we put our trust in God, not in man. You know what I'm saying? Hey, applaud them to what they're doing in the office, but we know that God will not fail us. Man will, but God will never fail us. That's why I think about what we think about the children of Israel, how they wanted a king so bad. And God already had a king in mind. He had David in mind, but the people were so impatient. They wanted a king. And that's bad when God said, well, give them what they want. Got Saul. They looked at Saul. Oh, he was tall, handsome. That's what they wanted. That's who God didn't want.
Right.
He already had somebody in mind. And that's who was David. Take care of the sheep. Fighting bears. Fighting lions. Worshiping God. That's what he wanted. So, ladies and gentlemen, let God put the people he wanted in place. That's just my opinion. If he tell you give them what they want, I don't want to hear that. That's scary when God said give them what they want.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Gotta think about that. Let me think about that for a moment. So don't just base stuff off of face, ladies and gentlemen. That's what I want to say. Don't just base something off of face. And I know we get based off of skin color and stuff like that. But if they lining up with the principles, though, just think about it for a moment. But that's for another day, for another time. Ladies, y'all have a great night. We're going to be back here Saturday morning here on the Walking This Way Impact Voice podcast. Man, y'all have a blessed night. Great Wednesday. Remember, big shout out to C.D. Dean Williams. He said this all the time. Remember the graveyard. Everybody had one thing in common. They thought they were going to see tomorrow, and they didn't. Remember, let's live life like it's our last. So, man, y'all enjoy your life. Find your purpose. Find your niche. Find out what God created you to be, because God created you to be wonderful. He created you to be unique, and he created you to be amazing. So don't let nobody tell you any other way, but follow God's way. We got this thing. Peace, everybody.